So I might start the presentation. Just a little bit about Australia and the scholarships which are offered. A number of scholarships are obviously offered by the government and by individual universities as well. And I'll just go through a few of them as well. So let's start first with the priority areas for scholarships. Now, typically, most of the research funding which is there at the university level. So basically, there are two funding bodies. One is the university themselves, and the other is the Australian government, as well, providing scholarships for different countries. So I'll come to that separately. I'll just start with what the priority areas for a lot of scholarship funding at the university level tends to be about. So to start with, a lot of it is towards research programs. So that's talking about your PhD and your master's by research tends to be the main the focus or the main kind of funding category for students or universities to fund students to come to their universities as well. So what we have basically is, if you're looking to do a research degree at the university, you can either do a master's by research or PhD, and depending upon your academic performance and your research experience as well, you can receive a scholarship which includes your complete tuition fees waived off, as well as in many universities they also provide a living stipend, which covers your living costs as well for the full duration of your research degree. So these obviously are competitive, and they obviously the selection of students is based on really an academic performance as well as research capability of the student as well. But just to give you an idea, a lot of the scholarship funding is mainly targeted towards research programs, and almost all universities will have quite a large pool of funds which are directed towards research degrees. The other area or other priority for for universities is providing partial scholarships for markets which are quite price sensitive. So a typical example is the South Asia region, where people are concerned about the cost of the education. Many of you all take bank loans to fund your education as well. So there's very high price sensitivity for a lot of the courses that are offered as well. And these scholarships are essentially meant to improve the affordability of the programs that are offered. So this could be in the form of a partial bursary or a scholarship or a grant, which helps you reduce the tuition fees you normally would pay otherwise. So that's one kind of priority area, is markets which are price sensitive. The other category is basically science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So a lot of universities have their scholarship funding in the science and technology streams, mainly to attract students in that area. That could be the form of coursework degrees, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, as well as programs at the research level as well. The fourth category is basically new programs. So if a university is offering a new program and they want to attract students into that program, they normally will offer a substantial scholarship or a partial scholarship to attract students to the new programs they offer any particular year as well. The other aspect to scholarships or priorities is the student diversity. So, for example, many universities may want to attract students from certain markets where they don't have enough students from that area. So they have very diverse classroom in their university as well. So typically, most Australian universities will have nationalities between 50 to 100 nationalities in their universities. But the diversity is a big priority for many universities who would like to have students from a whole variety of countries in their classroom, which improves the overall experience for you as a student as well when you're studying there. So a lot of scholarships may be targeted towards certain countries where they would like to have more students from as well. And you need to check the university website to see if India is a priority market and is a market where they would like to have more students coming in, and you'll find that they'll have scholarships in place for that as well. All right, so the other priority area, which tends to be more towards the government funding, Australian government kind of scholarships priority, would be basically about courses which help in building the relationship between two countries as well. So if you're doing degrees, for example, like international relations or law and those kind of areas, which help bridge the gap between the two countries, there's a priority for that as well in certain government-based scholarships. So we have the Australian Leadership Awards, which is a government scholarship, which basically also tends to look at people who come from the areas of which help in building the bonds between two countries as well. You may have heard of the Colombo Plan, which was offered many years ago, which really helped Australia build its relationships with other countries by attracting students through scholarships into their courses as well. The other priority is humanitarian. So if you come from a country which is affected by, let's say, recently by an earthquake or a war or something of that sort, which reduces your ability to actually pay fees, then many universities offer humanitarian scholarships as well to cover part of or completely the cost of tuition as well. But most of these scholarships are in the form of partial scholarships rather than full scholarships. Um, Nation building is very similar to the other part of it, where countries which have been, let's say, destroyed by earthquake or war or something of that sort, to attract students to do certain degrees, which help them to go back home and rebuild their country. And it could be in the areas of, education, engineering, all those fields which help basically build up a nation if they've been affected by any kind of issue. The other and probably final aspect of priority is for many universities to attract high quality students through scholarships. So if you're a high performing student and you've done really well in your year 12 and in your undergraduate degree or whatever, another priority for universities is to attract high quality students by offering them a full or a partial scholarship as well. So these 9 areas, I would say, kind of cover what the priority areas are for typically scholarships from Australian universities and also from the Australian government. There could be a few more, but these tend to be the main reasons why or the priorities which the scholarships are offered for. So now we're looking at basically the selection criteria. So when you're applying for a scholarship, there's certain criteria which most scholarships will use. I mean, every scholarship which is there will have their own criteria, but these tend to be, the things they look at, or most selection committees look at when they are selecting candidates for a scholarship. So obviously, the most important criteria is academic performance. So if you've done well in school and you've done academically well in your year 12 and in your undergraduate degree, then you stand a good chance of obviously getting a scholarship. So academic performance obviously is one of the top criteria. Your statement of purpose or what your career aspirations are. So what would you like to do with your degree, and how do you think your degree will help you with your future career? Is a very important aspect as well when consideration is given to scholarships as well. So um, that's another important aspect, is that when you do your statement of purpose, it's very important to lay out what you think your degree will lead to and what will eventually mean for you at the end of the program. Your contribution to society. So how will your degree, your education help you to contribute to society following the degree, whether it's in terms of what you give back to society or whether you actually work in an area which supports building up a community or doing community work itself. It's really about that aspect as well, which some scholarships do consider as well. The fourth aspect is extracurricular. So there are some certain scholarships which are targeted towards, for example, a sports scholarship where people who, state level or national level sports have been played and you've been able to have some major achievements there. Then some scholarships also consider extracurricular activities as a part of their selection criteria when offering scholarships as well. The fifth criteria which people look at also is work experience, how your relevant work experience which you have either during your degree or after your degree is also considered. If you have internships which you've completed, those also count for quite a bit when they look at the application holistically as well. So work experience plays a role as well in terms of the criterias. Your references, so that's obviously very important. Who are your referees? Are they your academics or people from work? And what kind of references have they given you is also a major criteria for large scholarships in particular. As to for us, for the selection body to assess what your peers thought of you, or your teachers thought of you while you were studying with them as well. So the references part is obviously a very critical part. Having said that, besides that, there'll be a whole host of other criteria which universities and the government will use to offer scholarships as well. But these probably, I would say, are the main 6 ones. But I would say, the first two, academic performance and career aspirations, are probably the most crucial ones. And then you'll find that extracurricular activities and certain scholarships are very targeted towards, the area of sports, or it could be in the area of performing arts or something of that sort, which you've done. If you have any leadership positions in school, where you've been, a prefect or head of school or whatever, those are all worth mentioning because it indicates your leadership qualities and leadership abilities as well. So, I mean, pay a lot of attention to those things when you're submitting an application, because most selection bodies will consider holistically all these aspects when selecting candidates. Okay, so how do you apply? I mean, this is really quite simple. I mean, read the details of the scholarship and understand what the eligibility is. So, but first of all, just make sure that you're actually eligible to apply, because you'll go through a lot of details, you collect your references, you write an SOP, and if you're not actually eligible for the scholarship, that's a complete waste of time. So, just make sure that when you are actually, submitting an application, or before you submit an application or prepare an application, make sure that you actually are eligible for that. And most scholarships will upfront tell you what the eligibility criteria, and it could include, your citizenship, which course is offered for, which intake is offered for, all kinds of things which they consider as for you to be an eligible candidate for the scholarship. So please read the detail carefully before you actually submit an application for any scholarship. Otherwise, it can be quite a waste of time as well. The other aspect is, and I think I can't stress enough on this one as well, is submitting a complete application. So typically, if you're going to submit an application and there's one or two documents missing, which are normally required by the committee to make a decision, then it's probably better to wait till you have all your documents and then submit them by the deadline, rather than submitting an early application, because most scholarship bodies will wait till the deadline and then start assessing all the applications that are complete. So it's really important that you submit a complete application and organize it properly as well, with all the documents that are required before you submit it. So don't be in a rush to submit an application. Make sure you submit it by the deadline. But the most important thing is then to make sure that you have all the documents in place, so the committee can actually make a decision on your application, rather than saying that we don't have enough information to make a decision with your application. So take some time over it, consider the eligibility criteria, and then submit an application when you're applying. Okay, so when to apply? I mean, obviously all scholarships will have deadlines, so that's the first thing you should look out for, is when is the deadline for each application. The other aspect to it is that the how much time do you think you need to prepare to submit an application? Now, if you're 2 weeks away from the deadline and you've got to submit referee reports and statement of purposes and an English exam and all those things, and you don't have the time to do it, and then obviously you miss the kind of deadline, or you're going to miss the deadline, then that's not a good thing. So obviously give yourself enough time to collect all your documents before you submit an application, a complete application, in time by the deadline as well. So give yourself enough time to prepare. You're typically, the application processes for most applications will be either at least 6 months prior to the course commencement date. In some cases, like government scholarships, they could be at least sometimes even 1 year in advance of the actual course commencing, is when you actually need to start applying for a scholarship as well. Most scholarships require you to have an offer letter from the university you want to apply, or the course you want to apply to as well. So you need to have an offer letter as well from the university you intend to study in, especially for government scholarships. And for university scholarships, essentially, you need to also make sure that you have an offer from that university before you apply for a scholarship. Some universities assess the scholarship at the time of application itself, so that becomes easier. But mostly large scholarships require you to have an offer letter and then submit an application separately for a scholarship with additional documents like a statement of purpose and referee reports and those kind of things as well. So just keep in mind that to give yourself enough time, and also to check what the deadlines are for each of the scholarships you plan to apply for. Another thing to keep in mind is that most universities or most government scholarships will not allow you to have more than one scholarship at a time. So if you have applied for one scholarship and then another one, it's likely that they'll only give you one of the two and not both. So just remember that it's typically, obviously, when you receive an offer for both the scholarships, then you obviously want to choose the one which is of higher value. But just remember that very few universities will actually offer a scholarship on two different criteria and allow you to have scholarships on two different scholarship categories at the time of enrollment. So just be aware of that as well. So basically, where you can find Australian government scholarships, particularly for Indian students. So if you are, in looking for scholarships and you are looking to apply for a government scholarship in particular, have a look at this website where it's a landing page for all the scholarships that are offered for Indian students in particular, and it'll tell you what the selection criteria are, what the deadlines are, what they're looking for, and what the amount of funding they're offering as well. Australian government scholarships obviously are very competitive because they're open to the entire market as such, as long as you meet the eligibility criteria, and they go through quite a rigorous process of selection as well. So have a look at the website. They have pretty detailed information on each of the scholarships they offer for Indian students. But that's one for the government scholarships. If you're looking for the university-based scholarships, I'll give you an example there of Macquarie University's scholarship, which are there on our website. But similarly, all universities will have their own scholarship websites from where you can download the information on the scholarships they offer, what the selection criteria are, what the deadlines are as well, and then you can apply to them directly as well after considering what the criteria for selection are as well. So obviously, do your research when it comes to which scholarship you want to apply for. Australian government scholarships tend to be of pretty high value, but then they're more competitive as well. University scholarships, they do tend to offer some high value scholarship, which include a full 100% scholarship as well, but there are only a handful of them, which once again are very competitive to get. But they would offer quite a few partial scholarships, which you can consider if you're looking for just something to kind of reduce the amount of fees you're paying rather than having to pay the full tuition fees, which is there advertised on their website or on their brochures as well. So have a look at these sites. Obviously each university will have their own website as well, but the Macquarie University website is listed there for in case you're looking for a Macquarie University scholarship. Then it's mentioned there for you to look at as well. I find that's the end of the presentation. If you have any questions later on, you obviously can ask them right now as well if you like.